Hello everyone. Today I will tell you a small story. Name: Burning. He touched down in LA, splashed water on his face in the airport bathroom, and stood in line at the budget car rental place. The man before him spat right onto the carpet. He got the key and wandered out into the lot and thought about how one day, when everyone had been killed or whatever, these cars would still be here, empty, accruing dust, their tires oozing into the concrete. He found the SUV and began his slow trek across town. Flat pale buildings languished in dusty light. Faded signs passed like voiceover panels sing a comic book. A commercial echolalia repeating things like "you break I fix" and "sexy yoga butt." He texted her, "Be there soon." 20 minutes later, as he crawled down a 6-lane highway straight into the howling sun, she still hadn't responded. Finally, when he was 10 minutes away, at a stoplight he texted her again. 10 minutes. 5 minutes later she texted back. Okay, her cheeks were pink. Her eyes a searing blue. She wore a white t-shirt and distressed blue jeans and smiled when SHE saw him. They embraced and she offered him a cup of coffee. They had broken up 5 months earlier, while still long distance, and only now had he been able to make it back to LA for his stuff. He had to leave soon if he was going to get to Seattle by tomorrow night. But he accepted the coffee, because if she was going to pretend that they could be friends, he could pretend twice as well. They caught up. She'd joined the legal team at a union, the same union for which he'd once volunteered. They discussed the current prospects of violent revolution, which they both agreed were not promising. They both agreed that the mayoral election didn't matter. Whoever won would just be in thrall to the police and real estate. As they spoke, she led him around the house to the different places she'd stored his things. The drum set was outside in a cupboard above some pipes. The books were still on the bookshelf that he'd built. He carried them down the driveway and threw them into the SUV. His brain beat at his skull. When he came back, she told him he could take the bookshelf. She must have known he didn't have the space, that he'd let her have it. But when he told her, her smile still made him dizzy with joy. "It's so good to see you." She kept saying, "You too." He said, "It's so good to see you too." He left too late but couldn't drive north. Not yet. He drove up to Griffith and parallel parked. A Herculean task in this SUV, even with the backup camera, and sat in the car with the windows down. No music. He looked out over the dull Plaid City and tried to conjure a feeling of closure. But his feelings were shrouded in smog, barely visible in the blank ochre distance. When he finally got going, it was dark, and somewhere high up on a hill he pulled over again and got out and in the cool air stumbled toward a lookout and saw the lights streaming across the whole earth. There were no stars in the sky, but the city lights were like stars, pulsing and bursting with his heartbeat. Stars that were perhaps long dead but continued to burn. Los Angeles was like that. And if one day the smog of forgetfulness rolled over the burning and blotted it out, then he wouldn't even know to be sad anymore. That's not what he wanted. He wanted to turn around and drive right back into the flames, but not now. He ran his sleeve across his face and blinked away the blur. Then turned back to the SUV. Now he had a long drive. Hundreds of miles in which to burn. If you like it, don't forget to subscribe to my channel.